But acting and producing plays taught me one thing, that speaking on the stage is something so nice. Because got everybody listening to you and you're speaking. What more do you ask for? You have power. And that was my interest in politics. Started with acting in plays. But of course, in high school, there are no elections. So, so I never got a chance to be elected, except in societies, chairman and whatever. But then when I passed Form 6, I went to Makerere University. In my first year, I got elected to the Guild Representative Council, which is a legislative body for students, in my first year. When we went to the Guild Representative Council, we were very naughty representatives, these first termers. We realized that the leadership of the Guild was corrupt. The president and his ministers, because it's a full government, the president and his ministers, with a budget, with an office and everything else, it was corrupt in the sense that there was a trip to the US every year that leaders were taken to through the US Information Service. These guys, rather than open the system to everybody so that the Guild Representative Council could choose somebody, chose their friends, and they went to the States. When they were in the States for 3 weeks, we organized a coup. By the time they came back, the Guild Representative Council had overthrown them. And we went to the university principal then, was not a vice chancellor. I told him these are the reasons why we organized a coup, and they agreed with us. So we who had organized the coup, the three of us, were appointed to write the new constitution for the student body. Myself, a guy called Grace Bakulumpagi Wamalwa, and another third person I can't remember. So we wrote the constitution, which was passed by the students. And then the two of us, Bakulumpagi and myself, decided to run for the Guild presidency on a constitution which we had written. We are talking about rigging. So we knew the constitution so well, and that is when I learned the art of alliances. So I analyzed the composition of the student body, students from Kenya, from Tanzania, from Uganda. Uganda, they were rivalries between Abanaba Buganda and UPC. I said, well, I look at Abanaba Buganda, I saw they're more than the UPC, so this will be my allies, isn't it? Wamalwa was from Buganda, so he thought he could get Abanaba Buganda. But I went and convinced all the leaders of Abanaba Buganda that if you just go for Wamalwa, you will not win. So come with me. In the end, when the elections were held, I won in all halls, including the sick bay. Makofi 10. Wind the clock forwards. Now I'm teaching at the University of Nairobi. After going to graduate school, 1977. Kenyatta is in power. He has detained Ngugi wa Thiong'o. He has detained all kinds of people. He had killed Kariuki. So we said, this man cannot be a good president. We must organize from the university and see how we can have a democratic system in this country. So from my lectures in the university, we started telling the students, the history of all hitherto existing society is a history of class struggle. Have you ever heard that sentence from Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels in the Communist Manifesto? The history of all hitherto existing society is a history of class struggle. The oppressors and the oppressed, the landowners and the landless, the powerful and we powerless. So we who are powerless, we must organize to change government in this country. That's where my problem started. And I made a mistake one day of going to the Soviet embassy to pick up books from Progress Publishers. A few days later, the special branch came to my house. Leta Vitabu. They took 9 cartons of books. They went and locked me up at this police station near Kenyatta National Hospital, and there I was interrogated for 3 days, going through those books. One of the books was very interesting. It's by Edgar Snow, called Red Star Over China, which is a very harmless book. But they saw Red Star Over China. You are a communist. After 3 days, fortunately, they let me go and said, go back to the university. Don't teach these things again. I went back, now I was worse. I told the students all that had happened. Another 1 month, I was locked in again. This is 77. Then Kenyatta died and Moi came in 78. Now we celebrated. This Moi is going to be a better president. Little did we know that we are going from the frying pan into the fire. Within 1 year, Moi would start locking up our lecturers. But what is worse is that in 1980, as my wife was pregnant with our first child in the month of July, we organized a demonstration in Nairobi to protest against British sale of arms to South Africa and to protest the murder of the Guyanese intellectual Walter Rodney. Demonstration was peaceful. No stone was thrown. This annoyed the government immensely. So when we went back to the university, it was on a Thursday. On Friday was a glowing editorial in the Nation. The university has come of age. Demonstration and all that destructive. We thank the lecturers who organized this. We were very happy. Saturday, I'm working in my office. I get a call from a journalist, Peter Karidhi. He was working with a paper called Narrate Times, that big thing. Calls me and said, oh, Professor, we have been told that you people are organizing a coup against the government. I said, where? We are not. No, it is said that you people are planning to overthrow the government. So, well, if there's such a plan, I don't know about it. The next day, in this Nairobi Times, a huge headline, lecturer denies plot charge, which means that I knew about the plot, but I'm denying it. My wife read that and said, no, we are finished. It was on a Sunday. Very early in the morning of Monday, I saw 4 long blue Peugeot cars which belonged to the special branch. They came into the house, collected another lot of books, took me to the CID headquarters. Now are there for 4 days, being interrogated on a daily basis. The students went on strike. They were not going back to classes. So I was released because they needed students back. I went back to university. Students went back to classes. But then Karidhi was called to explain his story. He implicated me even further. They came and collected me again, back to the same place. Now, when I was there, the student went on strike again. So there was a dilemma. Do we keep this man here or do we release him? So I was released early in the morning and told, go straight to your class. So I went straight. Taught for an hour. As I was coming out, going towards my office, my sister Susan was waiting for me at the entrance of Gandhi building. So when I went there, I said, look, let's go home. I said, why? She was just crying, let's go home. So we went home, and she told me, my brother Charles, who looked exactly like me, 10 years old, 10 years younger than me, had been killed in Mombasa. We say, how? It is said he was on a ferry and just jumped off the ferry, which was not true. So I dropped all that politics at the university, went to Mombasa to look for my brother. For 3 good weeks, with the support of the port police, we were looking for bodies around Mombasa. So whenever anybody surfaced, I would go and look. It was not him. We enlisted the services of a British Marine Corps to comb the place. They told us, according to the science of this place, if a brother died on this day, he should have appeared on this day. And in this place, there are no sharks, so it cannot have been eaten. So the story doesn't look true. So one evening, as I was, after one of those searches, I was sitting at Castle Hotel. You remember Castle Hotel? Having my white cup beer on the counter. I was very kind of depressed, so I was just drinking beer. So I had the car of my host outside. So at one point, I decided to go to the loo, as you know, when you're drinking beer. Safari, Mokwana. But the mistake I'd done is I left my mug of beer on the counter. So when I came back, sipped it 2 or 3 times, I started vomiting, which means it had been poisoned. So I ran back to the car, drove home. When I went home, my host saw me in very bad shape. She was a nurse. Her husband was working at the port. Took me to bed, took off the shirt. I started sweating. She gave me some drugs to put me to sleep. And she called the doctor. Apparently, I learned that later. By the time I wake up, it was past midnight. Then they told me what they had done. So my host told me, look, your brother is gone. Tomorrow morning, wake up, go back to Nairobi. We don't want to lose you. When I went to Nairobi and we explained to my parents, my mother and mother just said, take us to Mombasa. We just want to go to see the scene to be satisfied that Charles is no more, which we did. Came back. The trouble did not end there. With the birth of our daughter, almost every night I would get prank calls. So it was very unstable to have a young family, this kind of problem. Isitoshe, in February, 81 now, we have been invited to go to Harare with my friend Michael Chege. Harare, Zimbabwe had just become independent, to go and present a paper at Zimbabwe Institute of Development Studies on the land question in Zimbabwe, to tell us the experience in Kenya. Little did we know that this invitation had been picked up by the special branch. When we arrived at the airport, our passports were confiscated and told to go back to town. That was in 81 February. I decided enough is enough. So I went to Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. We used to work together. I said, Jaramogi, this is too much. I would like to leave for some time. He said, just go. You know, even Joseph went to Egypt, you know. And later he's the one who saved his family, you know. So Jaramogi gave me the green light. But I could not travel because I didn't have my passport. Several journeys to the immigration office yielded nothing from February to August. Fortunately, in August, I received a telegram from UNESCO. Said, we have identified you to go to Mexico to help El Colegio de Mexico start an African Studies Center. So I took it to my head of department, who was a friend of mine. I took it to the dean, Michele Mugo, who was a friend of mine. They all approved. Now I took it to the vice chancellor, Joseph Maina Mungai. He said, but we are not due for a sabbatical yet. You get sabbatical after 5 years. I said, no, Mr. Vice Chancellor. The situation I'm living in is untenable. If you leave me here, I may die. Give me permission to go so that I can be safe. He said, okay, I'll give you permission if you get your passport. Now, you know, in Luo they say you are between a Kurugasumbe, the devil and Deep Blue Sea. I kept on trekking to Mutua's office, the chief immigration officer, until one day when I went there, there was an Indian who was his deputy. He saw me coming and said, why do you come here every day? I said, because I'm looking at my passport. He took me to his office. We talked. He said, leave it to me. Come tomorrow, I will make sure you got your passport. So this Asian is the one who saved me. I went to him as a deputy to Mutua. So he took me to Mutua's office, told Mutua, help this young man. Mutua took a Bible from his drawer and started reading me the Bible. I didn't know a thing he was talking about. I didn't even listen. So in the end, he said, let us pray. We prayed. I didn't even care about the prayer. So when we said to pray, he went to his drawer, took the passport and gave it to me. I ran to the university, got my INA, got my release. Within a matter of 3 weeks, my wife was also going to France, fortunately, for a course in journalism. We left the same day, left our 1-year-old daughter with my mother-in-law in Jamhuri's estate, in Jamhuri school. While she was going to France, I was going to Mexico. When she finished her course in France, after 3 months, she came, picked up our daughter, and joined me in Mexico. That's how I ended up in Mexico. While we were in Mexico, I was supposed to come back after 6 months. Unfortunately, in 1982, August, when I was due back, the coup took place. And I was on the list of those to be detained for organizing the coup. So, my wife had actually come back to Nairobi to prepare for our going back. Now, the story of how my wife ended up coming back to Mexico, his passport was also taken. The story of how he ended up getting her passport and joining me is another story, which I can't tell tonight. But she came and joined me, and we stayed in Mexico. God is great. It's in Mexico that a little girl called Lupita came into this world. And I think that God blessed us and blessed her. And what I was doing at Alliance High School, she has done at a global stage.